Many thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video.
Man, I am in atmosphere heaven right now. It's just incredible. I found this tree behind me right here, and it's what I would deem to be somewhat chaotic, but I'm doing the best I can to try and simplify it. Good evening. I have come out to this absolutely incredible part of the Blue Ridge Mountains that I have never been to before. I've always heard a lot about it, but never been here before. But I tell you what, these trees, let me spin you around here, are absolutely incredible. Everywhere you look, these incredible trees, this really nice trail as well. There's a little bit of fog moving in and out. Oops. This area, it's actually not fog. It's low-lying clouds that are kind of blowing through here from, time to time. Every once in a while it gets pretty thick, and then other times it's just the perfect amount. I've got maybe about 2 hours before it starts to get dark, an hour and a half. So I'm just kind of, as usual, rushing around a little bit, trying to find something interesting to photograph while there's some these really nice atmospheric conditions. I tell you what, I did not have to go very far. Maybe, I don't know, quarter mile in on this trail, I found this incredible tree up on this kind of like a little bit of a hillside, I guess, and the fog or the clouds are kind of moving in and out, and there's some nice plants leading up to it. And this, let me just quit yapping about it and spin you around and show you exactly what the scene looks like. Absolutely gorgeous tree. And there is my composition right there. Let me just brighten it up a little bit so you can see it better. Pretty simplistic, but I got the rock right here kind of anchoring down the left side of the scene, and there's another rock on the right side, and then of course you have all like the gnarly branches surrounding this tree, and of course the tree itself. Now the only issue that I'm having is the fact that the light is pretty dim right now with these clouds moving in and out that I've now mentioned about 100 times, but it's windy too, so being able to get a fast enough shutter speed to kind of get these leaves crisp and sharp without a bunch of motion blur with this dim light is a little bit of a challenge. But and I'm gonna have to focus stack it too, because I'm pretty close to the rock in the foreground is pretty close to my scene, so, or close to my camera. So a little bit of a challenging situation here, but I think it's gonna be absolutely worth it. Now I know I'm completely nerding out here, but this place is an absolute gold mine. I already found something else that I'm pretty excited about right behind me. I don't typically go for kind of walkways and path shots, but this one has got a very natural look to it, and it really complements the overall scene. You got this tree right here on the left, holding down the left side. You got a tree, where is it? Right over here, holding down the right side, and you got this nice pathway through here, and here is the composition. And there hasn't been any of that nice atmosphere yet, but I'm hoping it'll kind of blow through here, because that's exactly what this scene needs. Let me remove this, make it a little bit cleaner, but that's it right there. And that's the tree I was talking about on the right side. I'm not 100% certain as to how well you can see that, but it's a very well balanced photograph. And as if this scene wasn't already cool enough, there's a little bit of little puddles of light that kind of bounce around the pathway every once in a while. And it's icing on the proverbial cake, if you will. All I need is a little bit of those clouds, just one cloud, one thin cloud. And if I could get it without any wind, I know that's kind of asking for a lot, because they kind of go hand in hand, but when the clouds blow through here, it adds the most incredible atmosphere. But then it brings wind, and then it shakes all the leaves, and it's a little bit dark, and that creates a whole other situation. But I would rather the clouds arrive and let me just try and figure it out. Man, that is the absolute worst. Well, that's being a little bit dramatic, but whenever you get to a location and it does have that really, really nice atmosphere, and it's amazing, and then it goes away, and now you can't get excited about anything anymore because you know how this area looked with the atmosphere a minute ago, versus going to a location and not seeing any fog at all, and you're perfectly happy with it, and you love it, and everything's amazing. You want the fog, but you haven't seen the fog. But once you get it and then it goes away, now I can't. Now I've seen a lot of interesting compositions, but everything that I see now, I'm like, if I only had the fog, or if I only had the clouds blowing through here, or if I had the dappled light. So on the way back to the van, I found this kind of clearing, and there's this nice tree right here. It's it's got some unique qualities to it, a little bit of character, but the sun is setting behind it and is backlighting some of these leaves, and when the clouds kind of blow through like they are right now, it creates just this like super kind of spooky look. I have my 100 to 200 on, zoomed all the way in, really compressing the scene, and I really like the way it looks. I have the half stop or half strength black mist filter on top of it, on top of the lens, in front of the lens, and that's just adding to the kind of oh, here comes more to the kind of soft, ethereal look of this photograph. So what little bit of light was left that was kind of backlighting the leaves of that tree is now gone. There's still the clouds moving in and out, but without those leaves being backlit any longer, it doesn't really create enough separation. It almost just looks like a tree in a kind of floating in a cloud, if you will. But anyway, I think I got a couple good shots of that. Well, good morning. I've come to a different location today, not too far away from where I camped out last night, but I woke up there this morning, beautiful sunrise, but no atmosphere at all, completely clear skies. So I came to a location about, I think it's 1,500 feet higher, to near a summit of a nearby mountain, and just hoping that there might be some more of those kind of clouds moving in and out, which there has been, not a ton, but there's been a little bit, and I'm just hoping as I hike deeper into this woodland area that I might see some, here's a little bit right here, and kind of see these light rays coming through. Looks pretty nice. So all of those atmospheric conditions that I was looking for is here. I don't know if you can see that behind me, but the sun rays kind of moving in and out. There's those low-lying clouds blowing through, or fog every once in a while. So it's exactly what I was looking for. But this location is quite a bit more dense than the other location, and it's kind of hard to, I should say I'm struggling a little bit just trying to create a little bit of order. And I think that's one of the more difficult aspects of, I think that's kind of obvious, the more difficult aspects of woodland photography is trying to create some sense of balance, some sense of non-clutter, if you will. And I'm always looking for space around subjects and a background that's not just completely bananas. This isn't just pure chaos. So I just found my first composition here that I like. There's this, once again, it's a path. I said earlier that I very rarely photograph paths, and here I am, one each day, 2 days in a row. But anyway, this is a really cool path. And there's these nice trees that are kind of, anchoring it, guarding each side, and these beautiful red flowers are in full bloom, coating each side. There's fog and clouds kind of blowing through the scene. There's a little bit of light popping on each side of the trees. It really, really looks nice. Very, very basic, I would say. You can see a little bit of light coming through the top right there, and you have the path coming through. And every once in a while, you see these trees on the upper left-hand corner catch a little bit of that light. And I'm zoomed in far because I'm trying to eliminate a lot of the sky up there, because that just kind of clutters up the scene. And I think that right there creates a much more focused composition as opposed to something like that, because all those highlights just serve as a huge distraction to me. And I think that something like that looks much, much better. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, about creating space and finding separation, and there's really nice separation between these two sets of trees on each side of the path. So the edges of this frame don't have any trees that are encroaching the border, so they're very clean edges throughout the entire scene, and the path kind of leads you deep into the photograph, so the background isn't super, super messy either, because the idea of this composition is to pull the viewer's eye through the scene, and it actually is kind of clean, and a lot of those flowers are in the background too. So this scene for me is by far the most clean and I guess less chaotic that I found in this location. And I think this scene that's unfolding right here is a great example of creating order and chaos, because there's amazing atmosphere. You have light rays coming through here. You have backlit, mossy trees. You kind of have everything that you want, except it's chaotic, and there's not really a clear focal point. And I don't think you always need a clear focal point, but for me personally, when it comes to woodland photography, I always like to have a clear subject in my scenes, and this one really doesn't. There are some interesting trees, but there are multiple trees here. And I'm afraid that when the viewer looks at this scene, they're not going to 100% know exactly what the photograph is of, as opposed to just maybe just like a random woodland scene. But it just, I don't know, I've come over here, I'll take a couple of images with my phone just to try and frame things up, but I'm just really struggling trying to figure out if there is a composition here or not, just to try and take advantage of these nice atmospheric conditions. Man, I am in atmosphere heaven right now. It's just incredible. I found this this tree behind me right here, and it's what I would deem to be somewhat chaotic, but I'm doing the best I can to try and simplify it. But it looks really cool as the tree trunks are kind of all consumed or wrapped around this this giant boulder here, and then you have another boulder right here covered in moss in the foreground. Some nice ferns all growing over it, and then of course you have this nice atmosphere behind the overall scene. I'm really hoping for some sun rays to pop through here. That might be asking for a lot, but overall I think I'm pretty happy with the way this is going to turn out. I hope you can see that okay, but that's the composition right there. And it is a busy scene, but I do think it works with, it's got a nice foreground interest right through here, nice color contrast between the vibrant greens and the kind of like darker muted browns in the background, and those highlights are really kind of glowing the background as well. I have the pro mist or the black mist filter on, and that fog is just really adding a lot of atmosphere to the overall scene. So hopefully this one will turn out. I hope this video doesn't seem too chaotic, as I feel like I'm just bouncing from one location to the next, from one composition, just like rapid fire. But whoa, excuse me. What? In all honesty, I'm just excited. I don't know. Conditions is what gets me really, really excited. Atmosphere gets me excited. Weather gets me excited. And in these conditions, I mean, one, this woodland area is pretty amazing by itself, but these conditions that I have been graced with is just everything to me. So it's been just bouncing from one composition to the next, and started thinking about it. I was like, I hope this video doesn't seem too chaotic and too all over the place. But at the end of the day, I'm just pumped up. I'm fired up. I'm having an absolute blast out here, and for me, this is what photography is all about. So after a great deal of trial and error, I finally have this image framed up. There's a bunch of just rocks and roots that were not adding to the composition that kept kind of sitting on the edge of my frame, and it was driving me crazy. I was zooming in, zooming out, moving my tripod to the left, to the right, backing up, moving forward, but I finally have it to where the edges of the scene are clean, there's good separation from the subject, and the background has a little bit of space before the tree line behind it begins. So it's kind of checks off all the boxes that I look for when trying to compose a clean woodland image. So there is the composition right there. See, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that there's all these kind of little distracting roots and rocks and everything. Ooh, the light's getting really good right now. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. So yeah, so these are the rocks and the roots I was talking about, all that are just kind of scattered around here, and just trying to keep things as clean as possible. I finally have my tripod in a position to where if I zoom all the way into there, I can eliminate all of that, and I have a clean right side of my frame, clean bottom side of my frame, and that tree that's in the background behind the main subject is separated by these rocks right through here. So that kind of creates a little bit more simplistic photograph. Let me show you some of the versions that have the fog through it. Yeah, like that one right there, I think looks absolutely fantastic. Whew, getting a little bit winded here. Oh, I'm gonna sit down. So think I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. But before I do wrap everything up, I just want to say a real big thanks to the sponsor of this week's video, which is Squarespace, who I use for all of my website and e-commerce needs.
Squarespace provides a dynamic and attractive online platform to create your website. You can display your photography using Squarespace's professional portfolio designs and customize the layout and look and feel of your gallery just so you can make it your own. With Squarespace's traffic overview feature, you can track trends in page visits and views to better optimize your content, and you can even grow and engage with your customers with Squarespace's email campaign tools, which will enable you to create engaging emails that match your website with your products or blog post and logo, just so your messaging remains consistent.
So if you're looking to start a new website or possibly upgrade your current website, check out squarespace.com/MarkDenney for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. What an incredible couple of days up here wandering around in the North Carolina mountains. The conditions were just, in my opinion, absolutely spectacular, and we got to visit a couple areas that one that I've never been to before, and in another location, this one, that I haven't been to in a couple of years now. So it was an absolutely fantastic time, and I hope you did enjoy the video as well. And once again, I hope it wasn't too chaotic and too all over the place, but hopefully there are some great images that I was able to create that I could share in the video that you'll also enjoy as well. And if you did enjoy the video, if you could share it with some of your friends who might be into outdoor photography as well, and of course like the video and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps the channel perform better. And if you did enjoy the video, also I have playlists that I've been mentioning at the end of a lot of videos lately that cover tons of videos on composition and on location techniques and editing and gear, pretty much all facets of outdoor photography. I have playlists that I'll link right here or somewhere in the end card here if you want to take a look at that. So as always, I really do appreciate you checking out this week's video, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.